Hello humans, good to see you all. It is your favorite color surfing DJ, Serjay Svek, back with yet another spectacular stream. And whether you're watching live, whether you're watching the VOD, whether you're chatting or lurking, you are all welcome here, and I hope that this stream will bring a little more color to your day. Welcome, welcome everyone. It is now Wednesday, November 2023 here in the Philippines. And that time check was brought to you by yours truly. It is now 1 or 13 or 1:13 p.m. right now. And I hope that you are all doing well. I hope that you finished your lunch and everything is going to be a-okay. So it's been a while since we last talked, and I just hope that everyone has been okay since the last stream. The reason why we're doing this again, where I'm just using my cell phone and I'm just talking like this, is because unfortunately my laptop did that weird thing again where the Wi-Fi icon and the Bluetooth icon disappeared yet again. I do not know why. Windows 11, please fix yourself. And because of that, we're reduced to doing this once again. So, but you know, we just have to live with this. You know, this is just how it has to be for now. Just because we don't have all of our resources doesn't mean that we cannot make content. Okay, this is the content right here. And hello, Cool Beans. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. Cool Bean says, whoa, this is unexpected. Nonetheless, a welcome surprise. Yes, it is. And good to have you here. Welcome, welcome to the stream. So, yeah. TLDR, or excuse me, TLDL. Windows problem. Wi-Fi icon missing. Bluetooth icon missing again. Cannot connect to internet. Tried to fix everything. No luck. So we're back to cell phone recording. We're back in 2020, baby. But anyway, how have you been doing, Cool Beans? I hope you've been doing well since our last stream. And yeah, as the title implies, we're just going to be talking about just a bunch of things that have happened since we last had a stream. And we'll be doing a little bit of show and tell as well of things that I have collected over the years, because for those of you who don't know, I can be very, 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 very obsessed with collecting things, and I can be very, very I can be very careless sometimes. Yes. Anyway, hello Milas, welcome as well, and Yuki, good to have you here. Milas says, ooh, live now? Yes, we are live now indeed. And Yuki says, well, talk about some weird Windows things. The Windows themselves are fine. It's the Windows in my laptop that's a huge problem, and I hate it whenever that happens. Goodness gracious. But anyway, we don't have to worry about that right now. Let's talk about what's been happening. So, for those of you who have been keeping tabs on my Discord server and my Twitter, by the way, if you want to go ahead and hang out with us, feel free to go ahead and check out the Discord server. Cool Beans, kindly enter !Discord and feel free to join our Discord server where we hang out. Thank you. Please take note, as it says, it's 18 plus. So, I've had some issues with my left hand, specifically. And what's been happening is that this thing has been aching on and off for a number of years. Actually, the very first time that my left hand started aching was back in 2020. And that was right in the middle of the pandemic, so unfortunately, because, you know, a lot of other people were getting sick, I did not have the luxury of visiting the hospital just to say, hey, my hand hurts, can we do something about it? So, and the reason why it ached was because of things I did with my typing. So let me get my keyboard here. This is an RK, a Royal Clutch 61 keyboard, 60%. And it comes with, yes, we have to do some plugging. This is a Royal Kludge 61 keyboard with custom Ducky Afterglow keycaps, as you can see here. So let me just draw your attention to this left side here of the keyboard. So for what happened is that if you're like me and you try to do the ASDF with your fingers, like maybe you were taught how to do this back in school, what happens is that then if you want to like use copy, paste and stuff, so you have to remember Control A, Control Z for undo, Control X for cut, Control C for copy, Control V for paste, Control S. So a lot of the stuff is concentrated here on this left side of the keyboard. And I had a habit of using left control for all of this. Not remembering that there is a right control for a reason. So the proper way of doing it would have been, if the key you're supposed to pressing here is on the left, I should have pressed right control and then the appropriate key. But what I did is that, just to save time, especially if I had to use my mouse, is that I pressed left control with my pinky, and then I would pivot my hand. So let's say if I want to do A, Control A, then Control C. So you see how much I have to stretch my finger, and my entire time my pinky is holding down the thing. So imagine having to do that for hours at a time, day after day. And then, as you can see here, so just imagine my wrist here, right? I don't know why it's so big on the camera, but just imagine your wrist is supposed to be like this, okay? So what happened? So because of the holding down the button and then moving it down, so it twists to the outside like this. So usually your wrist would be like this, but then it twists out like that. So even just doing this right now, I can begin to feel the tingly, the tingly feeling. And then, well, eventually I realized that, oh no, this is not good. So I decided to stop doing that, and I had to relearn some old habits. But of course, you know what they say, old habits die hard. So because of that, recently it's been happening again. So that's where this recent bout of pain came in. It's very clingy. Doesn't want to leave. It doesn't want to leave like my memories of her. Woo! Okay, there we go. Anyway, let me just find something real quick in my closet. Ah! Aha! I found you. Okay, hold on. Okay, maybe not this one. Aha! I have a bunch of stuff hidden here. Whew, goodness gracious, it's hot. Which is why, this is a side note, okay? Which is why, when I had a much smaller key table, so I had a much smaller table at the time. So I ended up buying this keyboard. This is a Pabile P42. This is made by a Filipino maker. And as you can see, it's only a 40% ortholinear keyboard. So ortholinear because, as you can see, if you could compare it to a regular layout keyboard, it's all in one line, like a chocolate bar. Like that. So, yes, this is a cat. Let me just go back to the chat here for a minute. Oh, hey Luna, hey Panma, thanks for being here. And let's see here. Cool Bean says, you might need a new ergonomic keyboard. This was my ergonomic keyboard at the time, actually. Luna says, lol, using the left control, I'm being called out. I know that feeling. Panma says, lol, yeah, I can relate. Used to do that for my BPO job too, when I could feel my bones scratching each other. Yeah, that's what happened. Milas says, Have a good stream, bud. I need to head out to buy something. I hope you feel better soon with that wrist there. Thank you, Milas. Take care on your way out. And let's see. Chat. Where'd your chat go? There we go. Luna says, haha, that view of the quintessential Pinoy calendar. Yeah, I bought this. Milas and I, when we went to Baguio for a school trip many years ago, I bought this calendar. And I only rediscovered it recently. Hey, Reeker. Welcome to the stream. Cool Bean says, is it hard to get used to the keyboard? It seems freaky using this the first time. Yes, it took quite a bit of memorization. Because, as you can see, you only have letters, and you only have a bunch of things here. So how do I use this thing? So it's simply that if you press any of the buttons, actually, it doesn't even have to be in this layout. You have like this special program. This is a programmable keyboard, meaning any key that you use here can be anything that you want. So some people, if they have a keyboard like this, they can make it into their own version of a Steam Deck. Excuse me, a Stream Deck. So if you want, you can choose, this can be like your start stream, end stream, toggle expressions. I tried it for like maybe a couple of times, but I didn't really get used to it, so I'll just stick to using this as a keyboard. But anyway, so the thing is that you can program the keys to do whatever you want. So what I usually do is, let's say I want to get numbers. So I hold down this key, and everything here, you see here, becomes numbers, a numpad. So this one, U becomes 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 0. And then here becomes your math symbol. So division, multiplication, minus and plus, and your equal sign, blah, blah, blah. If I hold this down, this now becomes your punctuation right above the number row. So remember, usually you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you look at your keyboard, this one becomes exclamation point, this becomes at, this becomes pound sign or hashtag, dollar sign, blah, blah, blah. So it did take a lot of getting used to. For the first few weeks, I actually had to use a piece of paper. I had to have like pictures saved just so I can remember which one went where. But it was fun. The only problem is, because it's so compact, and for those who know what I look like in real life, I'm a pretty big guy. So what happened is that because it's so big, it forced my hands into this really tiny position, and it forced me to squeeze my shoulders sometimes. And because of that, it also ended up bending my wrists outside like this. So despite the convenience of having something so portable, it ended up damaging my left wrist a lot. But I am grateful that I tried this out because I do love this format. I would like to keep using this because it's very, very portable, and it does have its uses. It does have its uses, especially if you want to make it into like a Stream Deck. This is definitely something that I would recommend, and it's a Filipino-made product, so definitely something that you could try. Pabile, P-A-B-I-L-E. Let's see. Reeker, hey Reeker. Reeker says in the chat, I've been distracted from all these Steam sales. Oh yeah, it's autumn Steam sale right now, so good luck to everybody who is trying for it. Luna says, if you only have that, you will get used to it, like if you have a new phone, which is true, yes. Luna says, oh my god, my brain will not work with this. Yeah, like I said, it takes a lot of practice. Because, again, this was like, I only had space for this keyboard and mouse. Even this keyboard was really, really too much for my table at the time. And what more if I had this RK100, which has the numpad, which I have come to need. Because in my current function, I use Excel quite a bit. So yeah, numpad. I believe in my whole heart that numpad is superior. I was a number row kid for all my life. But when I started working on Excel, I realized that yes, numpad is the way to go. I just wish that a lot more keyboard manufacturers put the numpad on the left, because some keyboard makers have the numpad on the left, which makes sense to me if you're right-handed, because you can do your numpad calculations on the left side, and you could still have your mouse, your right hand on the mouse if you need to move to another cell in Excel. I still don't understand why they have the numpad on the right. So you have to if you want to minimize your hand movement, you have your mouse here on your right hand. You have to go to numpad, type out the formula, move to another cell, which is going to cause another level of strain to your hand. Again, ergonomics. Ergonomics, yes. Hey Sue, welcome to the stream. Keyboard collection time. Yes, we've got quite a few. Got my ortholinear here. This is my RK100, Royal Clutch 100 with custom key caps. This is my RK61. As much as I love this, it can be a bit difficult to type, but this is my quote the Serjay keyboard, because it's on brand, with all the colors and stuff like that. I love this. And just put this here first. As a compromise, because when I started going back to the office, there were some days where we were required to work from home, other days where we're supposed to work in the office. So if I wanted to get used to typing on a quote-unquote regular full-size keyboard again, and we're not allowed to bring this keyboard to the office. So instead, I went over to Pabile and I bought this new keyboard. This is the Pabile P45. So take a look at that. It keeps the familiar a more familiar keyboard layout, but it splits the spacebar, it has arrow keys, and it has a few more keys. So the knobs are, what's this? You can program the knobs. Again, the advantage of both of these keyboards is that they are all programmable. So for example, if I want to use this one, this can be for like volume up, volume down. This is, if I press it, it becomes mute. This is brightness up, brightness down, or you can, let's say, scroll to the next page on Google Chrome, previous page, for example, refresh, whatever. Whatever purpose you think it can serve, this is what you can do with it with. So this was a compromise that I could use, and if there's one thing that I've learned about, my collection of keyboards, is that I think that we really need to have an option to have split space bars. In this keyboard here, this one is my enter. This one is my, if I recall, this was my backspace. No, this is my shift. This is my shift. So I could just hold this down and then I could make capital letters. This is my enter. Sorry, this one. This is my backspace, and this is my space. So why do I mention this? It's because our thumbs are our strongest finger. So why is it that on a regular keyboard, which still uses the outdated typewriter format, why is it that our thumbs are only delegated to a single space bar? And all of these modifier keys, if you follow the ASDF typing format, these are all done by our pinky, which is our weakest finger. So why is it that we have to rely on our weakest finger for all of this, when if we split the space bar, our thumbs can do a lot more? So I believe in the space bar the split spacebar propaganda. Yes. I'm no longer using these two at the moment, but maybe in the future, let's say if I have to travel, I would more likely bring either one of these. I would bring either one of these keyboards with me. But for now, I use these, and this one is for when my home laptop, and this one is for my work laptop, because again, number pad supremacy. You will know if you have to do Excel for your work. The number pad will save your behind. It is the superior posterior, yes. Yeah, so there's 4 keyboards, my gosh. Work always needs numpad, according to Luna. Woo! Which is so true, yes. Let's see here. Let's go back to the chat here. Cool Bean says, you might need a split-type keyboard so your hands aren't cramped. Actually, I did use a split-type keyboard once, Cool Beans. You can tell how careless I can be financially. Because I wanted to explore the option of a split keyboard, and it's like there's only like a wire connecting the two. So I did that, but the thing is, with a split-type keyboard, I discovered, or maybe it's just because of the maker or the material, it tends to like zip around because it's just clear plastic. And even with this mouse pad that I use, which is, by the way, a custom Serjay Svek mouse pad, by the way, only copy in existence in the world. So I don't know, the first officially licensed DJ Serjay Svek merch, quote unquote. So I used it, but even on this mouse pad, it was very very slippery. So I was not comfy with that. And usually they would recommend that you put your mouse in the middle, like that. But I wasn't really comfy with having the mouse in the middle or something like that. So I just went back to regular brick keyboards. Better. Let's see here. All right. Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to my Logitech MX vertical mouse. At one point, yes, I also had problems with my right hand because of using the mouse. So the logical thing that I thought what to do was to use a Logitech a vertical mouse like this. So I know there are buttons here that are supposed to be like forward and back. This one is supposed to adjust the click speed. But yeah, I don't really care. It feels good. Don't ask me to play Valo or Apex though. And yes, like I told you before, remember when I did my MS Paint streams? This is what I had to use to draw. So it was fun. It's just a very unique feeling. It feels like you're really like holding down the trigger of a gun, in a way. Reeker asks, have you bought any merch this past con, Serjay? Well, Reeker, I have not bought any merch because I have not gone to any cons. So, unfortunately, I don't think I can answer that question. I'm sorry. But yes, I don't have any merch because I haven't bought any cons. Excuse me, I haven't bought any cons. I can buy you, your friends, and this bar. And this con. Imagine I become wealthy enough, I will buy Conquest. I will buy Cosplay Matsuri. I will buy every con and make sure that all the tickets are sold properly. And we limit the number of guests so we don't get swamped lines, my god. Last night, I actually I had to go to a buffet dinner. The thing is, I spent like almost 2 hours on the road. And one of those 2 hours was just like spent moving maybe a couple of 100 meters. That's just how bad the traffic is at night. So holiday hell is real. If you're planning to commute via the road or you're driving at night, I wish you all the best. May luck ever be on your side. It's gonna be rough. My goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness. But anyway, it do be like that sometimes. That's just how it is. I really wish it could get better, but that's just how it is. So anyway, why did we go into that tangent of keyboards? Well, the reason why is because going back to, now that we've, spent a little more time talking about stuff, I went to the hospital earlier and I complained about my wrist pain and my finger pain, specifically on my left. So what happened is that I was describing my symptoms to the doctor, the orthopedic doctor. And he mentioned that since the pain only concentrates on my left pinky and my left ring finger, and I always told him that whenever I would get that tingly feeling, it would always go to this side of my wrist, never down the center, always down to the side, and sometimes up to my forearm or elbow. So he says it's most likely related to ulnar nerve impingement. It's sort of like carpal tunnel syndrome in a way, but carpal tunnel usually it would affect the first three fingers, so your thumb, your index finger, and your middle finger. But the ulnar nerve works on these last two fingers. So by Friday, I'm gonna have to go back to the hospital, and then they're gonna do some tests just to assess the damage. I hope it's not severe, because it has been happening a few years now. But now we have a name, and now we know better about what to do. So I just want to say to everybody who encouraged me to finally go to the doctor, I'd like to thank you for letting me do that. I guess I've just been putting it off because I was scared of finally admitting that something is wrong. And well, normally I would go to the doctor if something hurts or something. It's just lately I've always had this fear that if it's something wrong, it's usually going to be reduced to like, oh, it's just because you're obese, Serjay, like that. Some doctors are like that, and it's true. Sometimes sometimes medical issues just arise because of weight mismanagement. But it's just there has to be something else sometimes. So we can't really reduce it to just weight. I guess it's because I'm still insecure about my weight. Who am I kidding? I'm not. I guess I am. But now that we have a better idea of what to do, we just need to do the tests, figure out what's going on, and figure out how to fix it. So all right, that's one less thing that we have to worry about. So yeah, wish me luck. Cool Beans says, I wish you well, buddy. Thank you, Cool Beans. I appreciate that. Reeker says, imagine if the doctor said skill issue. Wow. To be fair, though, I cannot imagine what it's like if you had carpal tunnel, especially if you can't use these fingers. Actually, I think if you recall, I mentioned like playing on my Switch. So this is my Switch Pro-Con. Yes, Splatoon 2 edition, because it's green and pink. So what I did is that if I would play, I would use only my 3 fingers on my left hand to hold, and my last 2 fingers would just be like straight, hanging out, doing nothing really. So yeah, I mean, if I had carpal tunnel, I wouldn't be able to hold this thing at all. So in a way, I could still at least use these first three fingers, but these two fingers would be basically useless for most of my gaming recently. So yeah, it's a challenge, which is why I can't really do things like gaming streams right now or anything with my mouse, because even now, actually, my right hand is beginning to, well, not my right hand, excuse me, my right wrist is beginning to feel a bit fatigued as well, because now that my left hand has been way too damaged, I had to use my right hand to pick up the slack, and because of that, it's feeling a little tired also. I told the doctor the same thing, that it's it's beginning to feel a bit tired, but it's not as bad as this left hand is. It was really that bad last weekend that even just for the sake of example, let's just say this mouse is my phone, okay? Even if it's just holding up my cell phone just to look at it, after a few moments I could feel the tingle in my fingers already. That's just how bad it was. And that's like a basic function, being able to lift stuff. So if I can't even do that, then we've got a problem here. And as a streamer and an office worker, I need my hands to do their work. I'm just amazed at how a lot of, fellow streamers, VTubers and artists really are suffering from similar problems with their hands. So all I'm saying is that if you have issues with your hands in any way, I suggest you go ahead and, have it checked. Reeker says, what do you think the treatment's gonna be, Serjay? Well, I don't know, but right now, the only thing I've got is I was given some paracetamol if the pain is very painful, if it's really painful. But depending on the level of test, hopefully it's mild. I will just be asked to, let's say, because a friend of mine had a similar condition, he would just have to, like, wear a splint like that just to keep his hands still, and then just wait for the pain to go away. I hope it's not invasive. I hope not, because actually my friend, the one that I was talking to, his pain was so bad that even if you just bend his wrist or touch his wrist, it would feel like he's screaming in pain. It was like, as he said, it was like a 10 out of 10 in pain. Mine is still like around, let's just say, a 4 or a 5 at worst. At worst. But on a regular day, it's probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3. But I can still do my regular stuff. I can still pick things. I can bend my fingers like that. It's a bit stiff here when I wake up. But, I can still bend things. I can even still do weightlifting if I want to. But it's inconvenient. It's annoying. But it's not threatening. Let's just, out of lack of a better term, it's not threatening. It's not like I can't fall asleep with this pain. I can. It's just really, really annoying to have to deal with all throughout the day. I hope that clarifies things. So I just hope, yes, Rieger, like one of those special gloves, yeah. You could buy those like in Toby's or Mercury Drug, I suppose, where they try to keep your hands still. This reminds me of the very first injury I had, actually, on my left ring finger. Because before, I used to do judo. And one time, I was trying to throw one of my opponent. And then my ring finger got caught in the gi. And it, not twist, but it like pressured my ring finger. So I had to wear a splint for a week. And then when I had to take it off, my finger would not bend at all. It would not bend at all. So it took me like maybe another week to, get some mobility and bend my ring finger again. And I don't think it can ever bend back how it would before compared to my right. But then again, it's just probably me. It's okay. The only thing I need my ring finger for is for the ring when I finally find the one. Will you be the one? Yes. Reeker said, doctor prescribes hand holding 2 hours a day. Make sure you have protection. My goodness. Unprotected hand holding leads to very, very interesting circumstances. Luna says, haha, that would be nice, not going to lie. That's true. That's true. Yes, unprotected hand holding is not allowed on stream, okay? So, even just doing this, we might need to bring out the sensors. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I wish that we could like live out how some people are like, you know, in those TV shows. But even myself, actually, for those who work in the BPO industry or some those who are very very who live in like air conditioned environments all the time, this is why I actually bought myself fingerless gloves. Look at that. Fingerless gloves, I think, are a gift to man. It also helps that a lot of my favorite fighting game characters, mostly fighting game characters, wear fingerless gloves. I'm talking about you, Terry Bogard, for example. But theirs are like cut off at the base of the finger. Usually the ones we have are here until the first knuckle. And these are great, especially if you work in an air-conditioned environment all the time, because at least I can still type and feel stuff, and I can still unlock my cell phone with the fingerprint stuff. So I can still do that without having to, you know, take off the glove and then like that. But yeah, fingerless gloves are really, really fun. I love wearing these. These are just like cheapo, very cheap off-brand stuff you can find on Shopee and Lazada. It's nice. And it's cotton, so it helps my fingers breathe. The reason why I got these is because before I thought the reason why these two fingers were stiff was just because, you know, it was very cold and stuff, but the doctor and that's why I wanted to keep these warm, so when I woke up it would not feel like that when I bend them. But again, the doctor clarified that the reason why they might be because of that is because of the muscle fatigue after all the tingling the entire day. So, I don't know. This is just speculation right now. We'll have to find out when the tests are done. But yeah, fingerless gloves. Fingerless gloves are really good. So I have some quote-unquote protection for hand holding, yes. All right. So I know a lot of you are interested in my hands only, but the reason why we're doing this stream is because I wanted to do something that I haven't done, that I've been wanting to do for a while, which is just, you know, talking about stuff that I collect. And as Reeker says, I sometimes forget that I have flexible fingies. I do. Also, unfortunately, it's right in front of my cell phone, so I can't demonstrate my Kuji-in skills, which is like the ninja hand signs. I can't do that, but I do have a YouTube video on that. But we'll advertise later. Anyway, so what was I gonna be focusing mainly on? Well, if you follow my Discord server, you know that I have an obsession, especially with Swiss Army knives. I'm trying to quote unquote heal my inner child by buying the things that I was not able to enjoy as a kid. And I remember there was this post, I think it was on Facebook or Twitter, and they were like, "Hoy, you keep saying that you're healing your inner child. Gastador ka lang." You're just spending all your money and you have no self-control, like that. And I'm like, fair. I mean, it can be both. I just, okay, look, all right. I was a kid why I was a kid at the time, and I grew up with brother Svek is older than me, and he was in the Boy Scouts. And as a Boy Scout, usually you would have to bring your own knife. And brother Svek's knife was something really, really scary. It was something straight out of Rambo, with with a with a fixed blade, and it had a serrated edge halfway through, and it had a clip point. I will explain better what it looks like, but if you think of Rambo and you think of like his really big knives and stuff, that's what we're talking about. And I was really amazed whenever I saw Brother Svek use, not use, but pull out the knife. Not that I ever saw him use it because I didn't know, but now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, I want some of that. There you go. So I want to talk to you about, show you my modest collection, and yeah, I just want to talk about. I want to geek out about all my trivia because I have nobody to talk to about this. So unfortunately, chat, for you, you are my victims, so you have to deal with this. But first, let's go to the chat here. Reeker says, I have this party trick where I bend my thumb to the back until it reaches my wrist. Oh, you mean this thing? I can't do that anymore, but yeah, I think I've heard of people who can do that. Reeker, I will only believe it if you send a picture to the Discord. Just kidding. You don't have to, but yeah. I haven't seen anyone that I know be able to do that, because that's really cool. That's really cool. I think I have what they call like the hitchhiker's thumb, because for those who it's like this, their thumb goes straight, right? At the furthest. But mine goes like this. It bends way back. But I think others like goes even further back, and they say that's what they call a hitchhiker's thumb. Try it out. See how far your thumb can bend backwards without like moving the joint. No, it has to be this knuckle. See how far your thumb can bend. And just let me know in the chat how far, if it can go this far or even further. Let's see here in the chat. It says, Luna says, why not? It is your money. Exactly, you can. Within reason, of course. Yuki says, hehe, relate kaso, pwede naman ipagbabudget if I played my cards right. Which is true. You know, you have to budget, of course. Again, spend responsibly. My English was confused. I was about to say spend responsibility, but I was supposed to say responsibly, so it's somehow blended. My gosh. Luna says, Reeker, you double jointed. Yeah, I'd like to see more double jointed tricks, because those are really cool, you know. But anyway, let's take a look back at this collection here. Yeah. All right. Let's just start with this. And wait, which one is this? This. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right. So, welcome to the first bits of the collection. I'm gonna start with these two because these are like the basis of what the other knives are. And these are not, I don't have only Swiss Army knives. I also have a few that are pocket knives in general, because I watched way too many YouTube videos during the pandemic, and unfortunately I fell into the quote-unquote EDC rabbit hole. So for those who don't know what EDC is everyday carry. So what do you carry with you every day when you go out or whatever? So for most of us, it's a cell phone, it's a wallet, it's a handkerchief. Usually that's enough. And tangent, when I watch those EDC videos, those people make a big deal about carrying a handkerchief. They call it a tactical, or sometimes they have to buy like a tactical handkerchief, which is like the size of a quilt. and one side is microfiber for cleaning up your what's this, cleaning up like your glasses and stuff. Another side has to be like this or that. I don't care about my handkerchiefs, okay? I have to carry just I just buy one of those 3-in-1 handkerchiefs in a box from SM department store, and I'm good to go. Because at least for those people, it's like they never, from how I understand it, they never had the habit of carrying a handkerchief in their pocket for most of their lives. But you try doing that here in the Philippines when it is absurdly hot many times, many days of the year. If you don't go out without a handkerchief at least, it is awful. You go to outside, if you don't have a handkerchief and if you don't have like a good morning towel, you're gonna die. You're gonna be baking. You're gonna be soaked in your own sweat. So I guess it's different from their part of the world, but in the Philippines you need to have a handkerchief, man. You need to have a handkerchief, otherwise you're gonna die. Anyway, tangent over. Let's see. Luna mentions my phone, wallet, and lighters. No, I don't smoke. Fair enough, Luna. At one point, I did carry a lighter. I don't smoke, but the reason why I had one, I said, is because I wanted to, just in case, you have your boss nearby, just, hey boss, there we go. I got you, fam. We do a little buttering up to the boss, try to make sure that you're like, yeah, let's go. Cool Bean says, as far as I know, we don't have laws regarding carry on knives, unlike some states in the US. You must need it. You need to have it for your job. So these laws in the Philippines, knife carry laws in the Philippines are from more turbulent times, in the 70s and 80s, and you're only allowed to carry knives if your occupation needs it. So I would like to put a disclaimer here that if you do want to buy knives of any sort, Swiss Army knives, pocket knives, whatever, you carry it at your own risk, at your own discretion, because it doesn't matter. It's not like in the UK because in the UK they always mention the UK is because if the knife is locking and the blade is over 3 inches, that's a no-go. But here, it's not allowed at all, whatever. So especially, as Luna mentions, don't bring it to LRT or the airports. Lost your card knife to those. Yes, exactly. So any place that has again, don't, if you don't want to lose these, okay? But especially in places like the MRT, LRT, and stuff like that, you're at a greater risk, and there may be questions asked. So it's up to you to decide if you want to risk it. But I don't know. Sometimes you want to collect, sometimes you just want to bring. I buy so I can use it. Okay? I don't want to build a collection where it just lies in a shelf gathering dust. So sometimes I have to take the risk. So again, choose if you want to. Okay? So just letting you know. Luna says, I bring lighters because I want to burn things down. Casual arson. Please don't do that. My goodness. Reeker says, when you accidentally press Y and inspect the weapon in the train. What is this? Valorant? CS? So like, I still don't know the purpose of the inspect weapon in those games. Maybe someone in the chat can enlighten me like that. So, ayan. Also, since Cool Beans mentioned in the chat just now, Might need to need a knife. I want to be able to reverse mug a mugger. Problem is that if you carry a knife like this, it's not gonna be much help, because you're gonna have to use both hands, and you're gonna be like, yeah, now I'm ready. But with a slip joint knife like this, there is no lock. So if you try to poke someone with this, you're probably gonna the knife probably might end up shutting into your hand as well. So that's a problem also. Not to mention, if you do try to poke someone with a knife, there is no hand guard. So if you try to stab with it, it's like whoop, your finger is gonna go into the edge, which is gonna be a really bad day for you. And knowing Victorinox knives, these can be very, very capable slicers. So the last thing you want to do is slice your own finger off, trying to protect your life. Not to mention the fact that, you know, as soon as you start waving a knife around, instead of being like a regular mugging, now it becomes a fight for your life. And you know what they say, the winner of the knife fight is the person that bleeds out in the hospital. The loser of the knife fight is the one that bleeds out on the street. So I'll leave that to you, okay, to understand. Anyway, Cool Beans mentions, I found one of those cool gravity knives, but they seem scary. Yes, gravity knives are not fun. Because gravity knives are like, they just deploy, as the name implies, with gravity. So just zip, and then they come out. If you're not careful, they can come out in your pants, so that's really bad. So don't. Luna says, you'll need a butterfly knife for that. They actually have like a quote-unquote trainer butterfly, what they call the balio, because it's like, it just has like a plastic rounded tip, like a butter knife. So, which you could use to train for like balisong's tricks and stuff. I don't see the need for that, even though I've seen it being posted, but whatever. Anyway. So, anyway, let's go to these two particular knives in my not my collection, but anyway, let's do this. So, as you can see, good old Victorinox. Victorinox Swiss Army knives, or SACs, as we call them. And you may be more familiar with the classic red Celador plastic scales, as you can see over here. I am more of a fan of this one, this material here. This one is what they call Alox or Alox. So this one is made of a Celador plastic, so this can be replaced easily if you want to. This is metal, aluminum oxide. So it's really, really solid. But unlike the plastic ones, which allow you the opportunities to have tools in the back. So say, for example, the good old corkscrew. These Alox models don't have tools at the back. So it's all, these lines here are the springs for the tools. So this will become important later on. Hey Orby, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? We're as you could say, knife to meet you, Orby. Yes, Splatoon Splatfest just finished. How are you doing? Orby said, Swordberries or Orby says, do you ever forget to move that calendar in the back? Funny story. Before I did this stream, the last date on this calendar was August 26. So I keep forgetting. I said, oh right, it's November now, so I gotta move it for the stream. Otherwise, they're gonna say, oh yeah, it's not August anymore. Okay, take care, Yuki. The answer is yes, of course. So yes, this is definitely a more posh looking knife, Alox, the Alox version, and every year, Victorinox releases a limited edition of these Alox scaled knives. So when I started my collection in 2021, their limited edition color was Tiger Orange. Um, Cool Beans, I think you would have loved that color. 2021 Tiger Orange. That was amazing. I didn't like it at first, but when 2022 came and then they had, I think it was called Thunder Gray. I liked the orange a lot better. I guess I like orange because it's closer to red. And since Orby mentioned cut something, well, the only thing that I usually cut is just paper anyway, so might as well do this. Hold on, let me just do a good old blade test here. So yeah, I did this for like a YouTube video for one of my knives before, so yeah, just cut right here, see? It's a little harder card, but yeah. Good old stuff here. This is a bit advanced. This is an Opinel, my first Opinel knife. This is super cheap, but it's a really nice one. So this is also a very nice knife, by the way. So let me just do this. Let me just get the angle on the cell phone. Beautiful cut. And let me see, what else can I use? This one. Okay, I want to show this off. This is a Japanese Higo no Kami knife. I really bought this from a Japanese website. So, just this one here. It's like this, like. Nice cut. Nice straight. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna be cutting anything harder than like my Shopee packages and stuff like that. But yeah. So anyway, let's go back to this. Cut. Cut stream. Imagine how much paper I would have to use. Like, 1 hour of cutting only paper. What was that show where the guy where there's that Filipino host that goes, "Will it kill? Will it cut?" Like that. I'm not sure if it's Forged in Fire or something like that. But yeah, that was a fun show. Cool Bean says, I searched and that Tiger Orange is perfect. It has that Black & Decker orange that would be perfect next to my power tools. Diba? Tiger Orange is great. It's a nice color, actually. Will it cut? Yes. Okay, so again, I love going on tangents, don't you? So, why do I mention this? First off, so this is probably one of my favorite. No, this is my favorite in my Alux metal collection. This is called the Pioneer X. And the Pioneer X model is based... Oh, no, excuse me. Let me backtrack a bit. This model is what based the original soldier's knife, the original Swiss Army knife that was created by Victorinox many, many years ago, more than 100 years ago. It did not use the same material. The original one is made of wood, and this is based on what Tobias Gibson, a knife YouTuber, calls the camp knife or the utility knife or scout knife. So what are the usual tools here? So this one has, as you've seen earlier, you've got your blade here with a spear point blade. Spear because it's closer to like, it's very even top to bottom. I hate this polished texture. Polished texture because it's like, there, you can even see my face. Hi! Hello! Accidental doxing. Ayo. But yeah, I don't like polished texture because if you use this knife to cut, let's say, anything with tape, it will stick here. So I have to use like WD-40 to get it off. And even if you just use your fingernails, excuse me, your fingers to wipe it off, the fingerprints will stay. I hate polished. That's just my only problem with this thing. But anyway, just showing you a flaw. So there's your blade. And sharing the same row with the blade is a reamer punch. So it's pretty much like a spike. And what they would use this for is that they would use it for I should stop using my fingers. But they would use it to, like, for example, if this was a leather belt, they would pierce holes in like leather or wood and drill and stuff like that. And that would be used to bore holes and stuff, which is very useful, like if you're in the woods. And at the front, you have your bottle opener, and this tip here is flat. It could be used for as a flathead screwdriver. As you can see, it has what they call a half stop. So it can be used at 90 degrees. So just in case you need a little bit of torque, you could just like that. And in a pinch, it can also be used as a scraper or pry bar. Don't go too heavy with it, of course. And if you see this notch over here, this is also a wire stripper. Some people would put the wire here on this one, and then it has you would put the knife here, and then you would just peel the insulation off. And on the other side of the bottle opener is that you have your can opener. And this one has a very small tip. It can be used for as a Phillips screwdriver as well. Funnily, in the original version of the soldier's knives, from what I recall, the original soldier's knife was made because they needed to have a tool that combined a knife and a screwdriver for the Swiss rifles that they had. And they did not have crown caps for their bottles. Yung mga tansan that we know of in the sari-sari stores. So this was only a screwdriver at the time. Just a flat screwdriver. And on the other side is they did not have cans at the time. So the only thing that they had was they did not have Phillips screwdrivers, so they did not have this tip. They just had the can opener. So, trivia. So this is the Pioneer. This is the modern take of the original soldier's knife. As I mentioned earlier, it was originally made out of wood and then nylon, and then eventually in the 50s, they made the soldier's knife using these metal alloy scales. And in 2008, they changed the shape of the blade into something that looks more like a traditional knife. Swordberry says, how heavy is it? I'm sorry if I don't remember off the top of my head. I only know that this is 93 millimeters long. That's the only thing I remember, because they always mention that. This is a 93 millimeter knife compared to this Spartan here, which is 91 millimeters. The length is usually the most important thing that they consider for this. So this is the Pioneer X. And the reason why it's X is because in the middle here, it has, let me pull it out if I can. It has your scissors. The best scissors on a multi-tool, bar none for me. Just cut through this and it could sail through paper, no problem. See? I'm not even using my finger. Just put this here and that's just how good it is. Let me see if I can. Do I still have my? Where's the paracord? Aha! There we go. I still have some leftover paracord. Let me get a length of it. Paracord is, I have a collection of paracord because I was also making lanyards. This lanyard that I have is something that I added by myself. I used some paracord, and with a lighter, I tied this here, and I made using a snake knot, and then I just used a lighter to burn the edge off here so it hardens. So it's a very nice trick to learn. But yeah, paracord is really important. Excuse me, is a nice way to test the scissors. Just like nothing at all. Let's see. Do I have any other scissors here? Let's try this Leatherman Style CS. So this is a Leatherman one. Cool Beans, this is something I think you would like to see. This is a Leatherman product. Cool Beans is more of a Leatherman guy. I'm a Victorinox guy. So if I cut this, you see? It just bites. It bites a bit. It doesn't cut all the way. So, with a little effort, you can. But with the Victorinox scissors, it's just nothing like that. Nothing at all. So again, it's this is why I love this is why it's my favorite method of my favorite in my collection of Alox Swiss Army knives. Really, really good. And again, if you have some paracord, I learned this from YouTube videos. Paracord, make yourself a snake knot. You can make a lot of cool lanyards out of this. It's really fun. Hey Kuya, welcome and welcome back, Milos. You just see here. Cool Bean says, yeah, you can confirm most of the scissors are ass. Yeah, if there's anything that Leatherman does right, it's the pliers. I have no question about that. But the scissors on those things are not as good. So yeah, this is, once again, this is the Pioneer X. If you don't have, if you get the version without the scissors, it's just called the Pioneer. That's the original. That's the original version of the soldier's knife. But if you get the one with the scissors, that's the Pioneer X. Luna says, "I still need to sleep." Oh, go get some rest, Luna, and hope you're okay afterwards. Guya says, "So Victorinox scissors are good?" Yes, they are the best. Okay, so again, Pioneer X, done. Let's go to this version, this one over here. This is actually Sister Svek's original first knife in her collection. So this is the Victorinox Spartan. This, yes, I know. I know you want to say it. This is Spartan. Okay, here we go. So the tool set. Hey Aki, welcome to the stream. You have been summoned. Yes. You have a red one? Let's go. Show me your red one. Put it in the Discord server. By the way, you can show off your stuff in the Discord server if you want to. Wink wink. Hey Aki, welcome to the stream. This is Aki. So this Spartan is actually a mod in the same way that the Pioneer is the basis of the Swiss soldier's knife from Victorinox. This Pioneer is a modern take on what they call the officer's knife. And I use quotation marks on officer's knife because this kind of knife was something that was officially issued to soldiers in the Swiss army back in the day. But this one was something that the company just issued you just had to go to like a cutlery store and then you could buy this. Because, on the field you probably wouldn't need a corkscrew, for example. So Yeah, this is EDC gear, but focusing more on pocket knives because I have a knife problem. Aki, you know what they say, this all looks very knife. So some things that we just want to talk about. In the Spartan, you also have the same blade, but if you were to compare it to the Alox version, look at how much thicker this blade is in comparison. Same blade shape, spear points, but the good thing about Alox is that the tools are a lot thicker compared to the regular plastic Celador models. And even the blade, look at how thick this is. Look at that. There. I hope the camera zooms. There, you see? Look at how thick the spine is compared to this. Yes, I like them thick. Just put this here. And then also you have a smaller pen blade over here for finer tasks. And like the Pioneer, you also have your can opener and screwdriver. And, excuse me, this is your bottle opener and screwdriver. And this is your can opener and screwdriver. And on the other side, you have your corkscrew. And you have an awl with a sewing eye, which differs from the one that we have in the Pioneer. So in the Pioneer, it's what they call inline. So it's a lot easier to treat it like a screwdriver. Here, it's more like a corkscrew as well. So you have to like dig like this. But it has a sewing eye. So if you want to like sew through leather, for example, just poke a hole, for example. You have this thing here, you poke a hole, and then you put some thread in here, then you move the thread, then you poke a hole again, then shoo, 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 like that. And then on the sides, you have the tweezers over here. And of course, you have your toothpick. I don't have a need for the toothpick right now. I prefer dental floss. Thank you very much. And according to Father Svek's dentist, it's much better if you use dental floss compared to a toothpick. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay. Jat says, "Oh man, I remember this when I saw this, that my father had this." Yeah. The Spartan is a classic. This is like one of the more popular models. It's only a 2-layer knife in comparison to the Pioneer X, as you can see. It's thinner. So what do you gain, for those who just came in, what do you gain from having this Alox metal model? Well, you have thicker tools and you have a more stable scale, but you don't have any tools in the back, so no corkscrew, nothing like that, nothing at all. So, but it also looks very stylish. So if you like the aesthetic, that's fine. I like it because I just like running my fingers over it. You know, compared to this, it's just smooth. I like this. It just feels good. You know, like what Ainsley Harriott used to say. You know, give your knife a good old rub. Yeah, boy. All right. Also, tip. If you have a Swiss Army knife, okay, do not do this. Because when you're displaying your knives, one of the worst things you could do is this. So I'll demonstrate using the Pioneer. So you see, these bands here are the springs. So what you do is that whenever you raise a part of the knife, see how this spring moved over here? Like that? Compared to the rest, you see how it rose up a bit? Like that? So what happens is that when it's fully deployed like this, the spring is flat once again. But if it's like this, if it's somewhere like this, the spring is standing out. Why is this important? Say, for example, you do it on the other side. You do it on the other side. So you have both tools deployed on a same layer. So you could see this time the spring is standing up here, see? Like that. If you try to do it, if you try to make it so that both tools are standing up, what happens is that the spring will be stretched here and the spring will be stretched here, which is going to damage the springs in the long run. So it's always good that you do it one tool at a time. Which is why I kind of feel bad whenever I see those display knives on cases like that, because I know that it's going to wear the spring out a lot faster in the long run. So whenever you want to show off like the parts of the knife, just do it one at a time. And then put it back, and then open the other tool in the other layer like that. So, way to preserve your collection for the long run. Let's see here. Read the chat. Milas says, why not both? Hybrid floss and toothpick. Ah, that's your type, Milas. Milas is the guy that brings those little sticks, the ones that are toothpicks, and on the other side is the one with a tiny dental floss. That works. It just feels a little weird, though. Excuse me. Okay, let's see. Aki says, excellent snake knot, Serjay. Why, thank you. I only learned how to do snake knot a few months ago. So hearing you say that it looks excellent is great. Thank you. So let's go to other parts of the collection. Okay, now we can move on. This is a fun one. As I said, I love carrying A-locks. So a lot of my majority of my Swiss Army knife collection is A-locks handles. This one is the 84mm Victorinox Bantam in A-locks. And this is fun, and I pretty much call this one the wafer. Why do I call this the wafer? Look at how thin this thing is. Look at how thin this thing is, okay? It's wafer thin. It's like your Nissin chocolate wafer. It's like an Ostia. It's like a Skyflakes cracker. Goodness gracious. And it only has two major tools. And this is what they would call a gentleman's knife. Gentleman's knife because it's classy looking, it has a nice A-locks handles, and it's very thin, especially if you wear dress pants. So this is the Bantam. They also have a version of the Bantam, excuse me, with these scales. But this one is an Alox. So what do you get with the Victorinox Bantam? You have your usual blade, as well as always, spear point, and you have the Victorinox combo tool. So this thing is the bottle cap lifter and the can opener, and this one is your flathead screwdriver. And if you angle it a bit, I've done this before in real life, if you angle it a bit, this is the one that does your Phillips, or, you know, the cross-shaped screws, like that. It's a little weird, but it can be done. And here's your wire stripper notch. So it's your combo tool. Hey Avery, welcome to the stream. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm showing off my knife collection because why not? Yeah. And again, look at how thin this Bantam is in comparison to the extra thick Pioneer X. My gosh. So again, if you want something that you want to wear to your wedding, I don't know, yeah, You can get this if you want to. The I will say this. I don't like this kind of can opener for Victorinox. I'm not sure if you have this in your homes, but growing up, I had that, like, the bird beak like can opener that you use, where you put this on the rim of the can, then go forward like that. It's a little more tricky here in the Victorinox version. It's the same principle, go forward, but it's kind of harder for me to do. But if you have the combo tool on the Bantam, this cannot go forward. It goes backward. So you put this on the lip of the can, pierce it, and then instead of going forward, it goes back. Zhup, 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 zhup. This is a lot easier for me to use, actually. But if you compare it to the screwdriver tips here and here, 9 times out of 10 I would prefer the variety here. For me, it's always good to have choices. I always prefer having choices. Basta, ako lang yung first choice mo. Yeah! Yes! Now you know why I've been waiting to do this stream, because I've been waiting to say that line. My goodness. And because the Bantam is so thin, look at how thin. You could barely see the combo tool in profile. Some people would use this combo tool as like a pry bar, let's say, to pick up nails. I would not recommend it because it's so wafer thin. You're probably gonna break the combo tool of this long before you can break this thing. Look at how thick this thing is. You could probably pry a nail out from a board using this. Not that I would recommend you to, but in a pinch, it's probably a lot easier to use this one. Again, so this is the Victorinox Bantam. If you want something a little thicker, like if you still want to get your tweezers and your toothpick on the side, they have a version of this Bantam in the classic red Celador scales. But I don't want that. I want A-locks. And speaking of A-locks, I want to show you this one. This is another popular one. This one, was it also part of that collection? Oh, no. This was not part of the collection anymore because, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, every year Victorinox releases new colored versions of these A-locks models in particular. And this Pioneer X model only entered that limited edition series in 2021, if I remember correctly. The Cadet, which is what I have here, stopped being part of that limited edition series, I think in 2019 or 2020. I forgot. But this is the Victorinox Cadet. Compare it to the Bantam. So as you can see, it's this Cadet in red that I have here is 2 layers compared to the Bantam's 1 layer. So this one has your usual bottle cap lifter and screwdriver, and this one is your can opener and screwdriver. So it's a little more, you have more variety. You also have your usual blade, and if you want more grooming options, this one comes with a nail file and a under the nail cleaner tip, like that. Actually, anything here can be used to clean under your fingernails if you're brave enough. Just don't use the knife blade, please. I do not endorse that. That is scary. That is dangerous. I do not recommend it. Okay, but if you want like a grooming option, yes, you can. You can use the nail file here. And this one is the pattern that's like just straight lines. I don't know about you, but when it comes to nail files, like on your nail clippers, I prefer the ones that are like sandpaper. I prefer that feeling compared to the ones that's just like this. Or the ones that are like diamond shape. I don't know, I just don't like the feeling. It's a personal taste thing. I prefer the ones that are like sandpaper, like in this one. In this Leatherman style CS, as you can see. It's more like sandpaper. I like using that more on my fingernails compared to this one on the Cadet, which is a straight focus. Damn you. Which is more of very thin straight lines. But again, that's just a personal choice. So if you want like something a little more solid and with an option for grooming, you can instead of going for the Bantam, which is most likely going to get lost in your pants pocket, you can go for the Cadet, and they have a lot of color options. This one is just the red color, but at one point, I think it was 2018, the Cadet still was part of the limited edition called Berry Red. But it's no longer part of the collection, so we don't need to talk about that anymore. Ayan. Since we're talking about EDC Swiss Army knives, I want to acknowledge the presence of the one that every YouTuber talks about. This one is the one that everybody wants to talk about. Like, go take this knife. Go take this knife. Okay? It's lightweight. It's got a whole bunch of tools. Go take this knife. But I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Anyway. Say hello, everyone, to the Victorinox Compact. But before we go back to the Compact, let me just check here first for a second. I must have missed the chat. Sorry about that. Cool Bean says, can you do a small bite test like how they do with small gold bars? I ain't biting this thing. No way. It's as thin as a wafer, but it's not gonna taste like a wafer. No. Hey Avery, once again. Milas says, Serjay and his weapons. Yes. Avery says, that was the loudest face palm I've ever done. I didn't hear it. Avery, can you do it again? I'm sorry. Avery, Milas says, the Bantam might be taken in the airport because you've forgotten it's in your wallet. Yes, I do. It's possible if you forget it in your wallet. So just be careful. I am. So going back to this one, this is the 91mm Victorinox Compact. So same size as Sister Svek's Spartan. Okay. So this one is the one that everybody in the EDC community loves. If you talk about Swiss Army knives, go for the compact, go for the compact, go for the compact. But I don't like this knife, honestly. Even though it's just 2 layers and it's very light, the price for this doesn't make me feel good. I will explain in a while. So, what do you get if you have the Victorinox Compact? So you've got your usual blade, and on the other side of the blade, you have the combo tool that you found in the Bantam over here. So they share 1 layer. And instead of and as a 2-layer, instead of having your can opener and bottle opener, you have the scissors. You have the scissors. And on the other side, you have your corkscrew. And when you buy the compact, this one already comes in the corkscrew. This is your eyeglass screwdriver, very, very thin. And what they do is that you can put this on the corkscrew, like so. So if you have eyeglasses, yeah, well, sometimes it kind of sucks. See? Hindi siya clingy eh. Hindi siya clingy. Okay. Why don't you stick together? My goodness, cooperate. It's just like Suika game. Touch. 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 Anyway, but if you have glasses, you can screw it like that, whatever. And in some cases, if you go into the woods, you can get like fire, like tinder and stuff like that, but I don't need that. I don't go camping. Nature is nice, but I don't like nature, so yeah. And a common feature, actually, I think it's also in the Spartan. Let me double check. Yes, these models have a hole here, right underneath the corkscrew. But in the compact, let me just see if I can dig it out. Every knife in this range has a hole for a pin, but in the compact, it already comes with the knife. So this is a sewing pin that you could use for, you know, pinning stuff together, or for your what's this? Or for your SIM cards if you want to take it out from your phones. So it's already here. Let me just put it back in. Dang it! Why do they have to make it so thin? I got big hands. And you know what they say about big hands? That's right. It's very hard to find gloves my size. And it also comes with a parcel hook, as you can see here. But let me just get a comparison here. Unlike the parcel hook on this Explorer that you have here, this one has a smooth back. This one has the nail file. So if you want to file your nails, just rub it here. Actually, it's better if you do it here. So just rub your fingernails here and then, yeah, manicure. And even though both of these knives, this is the Spartan on the top, this is the compact at the bottom, even though they only have 2 layers, the compact at the bottom is a little thicker because it has what they call plus scales. And plus scales are because aside from having tweezers, the usual tweezers, and the usual toothpick, the plus scales also allow for one tool, which is your ballpoint pen. So in a pinch, you can write with this thing like this, but it feels weird. It feels stupid. So there is this trick by the YouTuber named Felix Imler. And what you can do is that you can lift the parcel hook like this. And you see the groove where the parcel hook is? You slide the pen underneath here. And then you trap the hook on here. So now you've got a better kind of ball pen that you could use. There we go. It's weird, but it can work. It can work. But yeah. This is the knife. This is the Swiss Army knife that everybody in the EDC community is saying, you have to buy this one. This is the best one because it's so lightweight and it's jam-packed with tools. I don't like this one. I'm the one who bought this knife, but I don't like it. I don't like it. And so I ended up giving it to Sister Svek. Why don't I like it? Well, for one, it's not Alox. Very petty reason, okay? I really like the feeling of Alox. That's one thing. Also, the price of this thing is just too much for me. How will I say? For example, we have the Bantam. If you got the regular version of this, excuse me, if you got the Victorinox Bantam, but you got the plastic Celador scale version in Shopee, this one would cost around 999 pesos lang. Right? This Spartan over here, it costs 2-3. From my last check, it's around 2-3. The compact, if I recall, is just under 3,000 pesos. So I think it was around 2.7 or 2.8. And these are all great tools. There's no doubt about that. The only thing is that the only reason why it costs so much is because of the additional stuff, like the special parcel hook with the nail file, and then the screwdriver over here, and then the pin that came in here as well. Not to mention the ballpoint, excuse me, the additional ballpoint pen as well. So you're paying a lot more for the accessories, and it's a lot for the lightweight. So you'll have to decide if this is something that you want more over something like, I don't know, like the Pioneer X, for example. So everyone in the EDC community likes this one. I don't like this one, just as a personal preference. If you want to get something with in a more similar price range, but with a lot more variety in tools, then I finally bit the bullet and I got something that is not ALOX. I got this one. This is the latest addition to my collection. This is the Victorinox Explorer. So as you can see, it's a chunky boy. Damn, boy! It's thick! So this is the thickest knife that I've got. It's 4 layers. And I think this is the highest that I can conceivably go with this one. It's a 91mm knife. So it's on the same length as the Spartan and the compact. But this one, if I recall correctly, this one is like 2,800 pesos. And this one, the compact, is also around that price range. Okay? But look at how much that you've also got. The only thing you have to take into account is the thickness. I think I prefer the Explorer a lot more because, well, again, I have big hands. So I like it thick because at least it's easier for me to grip on this. I mean, look at me holding the Bantam. Look at how tiny this thing is in comparison to my hand, right? The compact is fine. No worry about it. But, you know, I want something with a little more real estate that I could hold. So the Explorer does that for me. Let me take a drink of water first and stretch. Don't forget to stretch, everybody. It's been 90 minutes. The stream started. Oh, I'm doing the stretching for free. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. Let's take a look at the chat first. Hold on. Cool Bean says, oh yeah, how do you do maintenance for these? Every 6 months or so, I clean and spray my Leatherman with a WD-40. Very good question, Cool Beans. I forget about it. I am not very good when it comes to maintenance, truth be told. Because sometimes I just forget. I just forget everything. Sometimes I forget to do maintenance on these things, but I never forget all the time that I spent with her. Woo! Okay, anyway. Sorry. Anyway, Reeker says, and you call yourself a sapling just because I don't like camping and going into nature. Okay, Reeker, listen, alright? I call myself a sapling because I like fauna. I don't like nature, alright? Get the record straight. Alright, let's be clear. Cool Bean says, my grandpa had one from Saudi and it was like a 2 common boy thick. It was really thick and it confused me how you could use it properly. Probably your grandpa had something like the Swiss Champ, which is probably around this thick, give or take, with all of the tools here. The only thing I don't like about the thicker models is that the knife is over here on one side, on the very edge. It would do a lot better if the knife was closer to the center. So it'll be a lot easier to use the knife, but you know, that's what Victorinox do, so I can't really do anything about that. So anyway, we talk about the latest addition to my collection, which is the Victorinox Explorer. And this is a 4-layer knife, as you can see here. So what do we get with the Explorer? Well, usual spear point blade. On the other side of the spear point blade, we have our pen blade. On the front, we have the bottle cap lifter and screwdriver. And then your usual can opener screwdriver. And then we have the scissors. Again, I've learned that I will never buy a Victorinox Swiss Army knife without the scissors. The scissors are a must for me. I rarely use the knife, but the scissors are the deal maker for me, as much as possible. So this is, if you think about it, it's pretty much similar to the Pioneer X, which has all of these tools. But what makes the Explorer different is that it has a magnifying glass here. So this is, if I recall correctly, this is just a plastic lens. Before they had like genuine glass lens, but now it's just plastic. So just read the text over here. Look at that. Especially at my age, I'm nearsighted and I have astigmatism. So yes, I'm part of the cool kids because I'm astig. No, astigmatism sucks. Okay, but anyway, fellow astig gang represent in the chat. But yeah, fine print, especially finding serial numbers, not on your cornflakes, but serial numbers on your products is a lot easier with the magnifying glass. And on the other side, you have a 3D Phillips screwdriver. So this is what it looks like, see? So as you can see, it's really solid. Other Swiss Army knives usually have the screw. This is what you would usually have to use on the can opener as a Phillips screwdriver, as you can see. But it's only a flat 2D Phillips, so it's very small. It can work on smaller ones, but it might not work on bigger ones. But this one is 3D, so it can work on much bigger Phillips screws as well. And if you want something smaller, you can use the one on the bottle cap lifter, or for the one. Or if you really want a smaller one, you can still have the option for the one from the can opener. Again, options are always important. Basta ako yung first choice. Yeah. Woo! Anyway. Hey Rain, thank you very much for stopping by. Can I have a shout out for Rain, please? Knife Video 101. That's right. Rain, it is knife to meet you. Yes. Yes, why settle for being the second choice, diba? Always be the first. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome to the stream. Let's see here. No, Reeker, we are not gonna use we are not going to use the magnifying glass to burn ants, okay? That would be bad and wrong. Badong, as we call it. Cool Bean says, I have astigmatism. Yeah, astig gang, what up? I have astigmatism and I love using it as an excuse for ignoring people calling out to me. I have astigmatism and I used to use it as an excuse for, what was this? I used to think it was fun noticing that the stoplights had like all these cool visual line effects until I found out that no, that's not how it's supposed to be. My gosh. Anyway. Who got lines in the middle of the week? No, we not in the middle of the week. Every day. Yes. Badong? Yes. It's bad and wrong combined. And the opposite of bad and wrong is no dab. From the greatest martial arts movie ever made, Kung Pao. Okay, so going back to the Explorer. So we do have these 4-layer tools here. And on the back, of course, you have your corkscrew, and then you have the parcel hook again, and you have the awl with a sewing eye. So I guess you could say it's gonna be all right. Okay, anyway. Aside from that, you have your usual tweezers and your toothpick as well. So again, the Victorinox Explorer. I like this one because it's much thicker. It gives me a lot more room to grip things as well. So, and even though it's not like the Alox version where it's like, oh yeah, give it a good old rub. Unlike this, at least it has a nice texture when I run my finger through that. It's like, yeah, that feels nice. This one doesn't feel so nice, but yeah. That sounds weird. Anyway, why did I pick this one, aside from the size? Again, sorry, not this one. Compare it to the much thinner compact. Yes, a lot of people recommend this one, but these two have a very similar price range. I would rather have a separate can opener and bottle opener, and the ability to get like a separate screwdriver and a magnifying glass, which I would need, I think, a lot more. Sure, you sacrifice thickness for compactness, but I prefer, this, I think, is more deserving of the price point compared to this. This should be made a lot cheaper. It's just, you're paying again for the eyeglass screwdriver here, the pin in here, and then the ballpoint pen accessory here. So I'd rather have this instead. At least I can say that yes, it really does deserve the price. And also why I like this more, if you have like a 4-layer Swiss Army knife, the width and the height are pretty much like a square already at that point, which makes it a lot easier for me to grip with my hand like this. So, personal preference. Okay, so I have more Swiss Army knives, but I've spent a lot of time talking about them. So let's just go to my other pocket knives, which I think you will enjoy. My non-Swiss Army knife pocket knives. So let's go with this one. This is if you've seen my MRE review videos, you might remember this one. This is the CRKT Squid XM. So this is the only so far this is the only modern pocket knife that I have in my collection. It has a flipper tab. It has a thumb stud, which you could use. Wait, let me just give some space here. Ooh, that was dangerous. Okay. It has a frame lock. So frame lock because part of the frame of the knife goes in here and locks the knife in place. So I can't close it on my finger. So if you want to close it, you have to move this bit over here out of the way and then close it. So you can use the thumb stud here, or you can use the flipper tab on the back. So like this. There we go. D2 blade steel, and this is, I think, what they call G10 front scale. The back is stainless steel. It's called the Squid because if you close it, if you look at the scale over here, it looks like pusit. See? The bottom of the squid here, and then here's the top of the squid head, and then maybe the little tentacles coming out here. So yes, this is the knife of every Splatoon player. If only Lucas Burnley, the maker of this knife, if only he made, so if he made the squid, he should have made the Octo knife as well. My goodness. You know, when the ink guns are no longer enough, it's time to bring out the squid. This is the bigger sibling of the original squid knife. The original squid knife was this long until my finger here. This is just under 3 inches. It's like 2.89 inches. This one, the original squid was just like around here, give or take. And then it could only fit 3 of my fingers on the handle. But the reason why I got the Squid XM, because again, I like it bigger, so it gives me a nice full grip over here. Nice jimping up here, you know, gives a good grip for the thumb. And it has the flipper. The original Squid did not have a flipper, so you only had your thumb stud to open it. But even then, it didn't have the auto opening that this one has. So you had to like, and so it was kind of slow. So if you want it a little faster, just use the flipper tab and woo! There we go. So yeah, this is the CRKT Squid. It's the only modern knife in my collection right now. The rest are all traditional knives, just like this one. Okay, let's talk about this one that I showed earlier. Okay, this is a fun one. This is the Opinel knife. Very, very cheap. This one, I bought it from Forged PH. And this is from Opinel is a French knife from the Savoy region of France. And this is made out of wood handles. And as you can see, it's very thick compared to this, as you can see. But it's just a knife. It's just a knife. And this one in particular is what they call the My First Victorinox. Excuse me, My First Opinel knife. Okay, Jad, gotta go. Take care. Enjoy the art grind. And as you can see, it's called the My First Opinel because it doesn't have a sharp point. It doesn't have a sharp point. It's almost like a butter knife, actually. And this one comes in inox. Inox is the term for, I think it's French, for stainless steel. It has, the other option is carbon steel. I don't like carbon steel because carbon steel can rust easily. So, but if you want like that patina or that rusted look, some people actually get the carbon steel blades and then they rub things like mustard on it because the acid of the mustard will darken the blade and give it that nice patina look that they're looking for. But I'm not into that. I prefer stainless steel. So anyway, this thing, look at how thin the blade stock on this thing is. Look, it almost disappears. You see that? It's like it's just gone. This is a very thin knife. So this is really, really good for slicing. And if nothing else, I can bring this along because at least I can say it's a butter knife. And I have used it for things like spreading butter, cutting my Eden cheese. Eden cheese, the best, baby. And yeah, it's really, really nice. If you want the regular kind of Opinel, it has like a more curved point here at the end. But if you want a more harmless looking option, go for the My First Opinel one. As Milas mentioned, thanks for that Opinel. Yeah, I gave Ren and him Opinel knives as well. It's really nice. It's really nice. So, and the only problem is that these are wood. And the problem with wood handles is that sometimes they can be, like, depending on the weather or if the wood gets moist or wet, sometimes it's very hard to remove the knife from the handle. So it gets stuck. So if you don't want to use oil, what you can do is a trick they call the Savoy tap. So what you do is that you hold the knife like this, and then you hit this part of the knife on the table. There, you see? It got dislodged. And then you can open it now. So again, if for some reason the knife, I can't pull it out. So again, hit this one on the table a couple of times maybe. Where's the money? Then it should be dislodged and you can open this one. There we go. All right. Cool Bean says, whoa, that I do not know how to feel about hitting the knife on the table. I know, Cool Beans, but sometimes this is the only way. This is what they recommend in the official website too, you know. They give you that, the Opinel tap, the Savoyard tap, that's what they recommend. If the wood handles warp because they are moist or because of pressure, you have that option. So if you really need to use the knife. Also, they have, this is what they call the size 6. 6 because if I recall correctly, 6 is because of the inch. I think. Wait, let me go get my tape measure. Thereabouts. It's around 6 or 7 inches long. Why is this important? Because starting from size 6, they have this special lock over here on the handle. So once you take out the knife, you just twist it, and now you have a locking knife. So that's why in some places in Europe, what they do is that for the bigger Opinel knives, they actually remove this lock because, again, some knives should be less than 3 inches long in the blade and non-locking. So they remove this lock. But we don't really need to worry about that. So again, at least this is more secure. And when you close it, you twist it again. So now it doesn't open. So don't tap the knife on the table. Make sure to check first that it is unlocked. Be careful, okay? But yes, if you want a really cheap, if I recall, this is just like 1K, maybe a little more than 1K on forged.ph. If you want a really cheap but very effective slicer, go ahead and check out Opinel knives. This is amazing, believe me. What's next? What can I use? This one. This, I got this also from forge.ph. This is a case knife. So we've gone from Swiss and we've gone from French and now we are in America. America! There we go. So this is the Case American Workman Stockman knife. It's a tongue twister, okay? But Case is the brand. The American Workman is the the model series, as you can see with the American flag here. And Stockman is the kind of knife pattern. So if you remember at the very beginning of the stream, I mentioned that this Pioneer X is based on what we call the scout knife, camp knife, or utility knife. This one is based on the Stockman knife. Stockman because they are based on the people that work with cattle back in the day in the American ranches. So what would you need to work on a ranch? Well, you need a clip point blade, as you can see. So let's compare it with the good old Victorinox blade. No. Let's not do that. Let's compare it with the squid. Shit. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, it's a drop point or closer to a spear point or a drop point. So it's almost the same top and bottom. But if you look at the clip point here, you see, it's like they got the knife, they got the blade over here, and then they clipped or removed the top portion of the knife here. So meaning this knife is very good for poking or stabbing things because it has a very, very sharp point here. So this is what you call a clip point knife. This is the kind of knife, this is the kind of shape that you would find on like those Rambo Bowie knives back in the day. So this is the kind of shape that Brother Svek's knife from the Boy Scouts used to have. This kind of shape, a clip point knife. Very good for fine detailed cutting or poking. And then we have the sheep's foot blade. Sheep's foot because it looks like a sheep's foot. And the good thing about this is that this part is dull, so you can't stab yourself accidentally with this. But it has a very sharp point over here. And this is good because let's say you want to open a box. In modern application, if you want to open a box, you just use the point here, and zip. At least it's very precise to just do this. It's a lot easier compared to if the knife has a curved belly like the squid, because you don't know where the cut is going to begin unless it's like this, unless you hold it like this on the box, and it's a very awkward angle. So you just sometimes you don't know where it's gonna start or stop, so it's like it's kind of weird. But with the sheep's foot blade on the Stockman, you just okay, you know where it starts, you know where it ends. So there. This is my favorite blade in the Stockman. And the last one is the Spay blade. Spay blade because this is what the kind of blade shape that they used for castrating livestock. Yes. But of course it wasn't this small. Usually you would get something bigger. But the blade, this is what they call the blade shape. So it has a really, really thick, really, really sharp belly over here. and then a little clip here at the top. So what they say, the reason why they have this shape apparently is so that, you know, you could castrate the animal without, you know, piercing other unnecessary parts. I just use this to cut cheese. Or no, to cut butter, excuse me. And this clip point is what I use for cutting Eden cheese. This is a nice knife. I mean, this is a nice pattern, the Stockman. The only problem is that, and this is something that happens with a lot of these case knives, is that they have something called blade rub. And they say it's not a problem, it's a feature. Okay, that's what they kept saying. Because you see how tight they are in their layers? Compare it with, let me just close this properly, sorry. Compare it with, like, say, a Victorinox, where the different tools are all neatly separated from each other so they don't touch. These case knives have a tendency to be very, very tightly packed. And why do I mention that? Because when you remove, let's say, the spay blade here, what happens is that if you put it back, it will rub on this blade. I don't know if the camera shows you, but if you look at this sheep's foot blade, you see there's like a little vertical line here. This is caused by the spay blade rubbing on the knife, on this blade here. It doesn't bother me, but if you're looking to have like a pretty looking knife, this is going to be a problem for people like that. That's not a problem for me. It's just annoying, but it's not a deal breaker for me. The only time it becomes a deal breaker is if, let's say, you're trying to close the knife and then it really hits the other tools so much so that it causes like a notch to form. That's a deal breaker for me. And it can happen in other models. But this one, this little scar over here, is not a deal breaker, but it can happen. It can happen. So that's why I usually stay away from case knives like this. I had a case of buyer's regret after this one. So yeah, I'm not gonna touch this one. I'm not gonna buy another case knife. So yeah, I'd rather spend it on another Victorinox if I wanted to. Hydrate. 2 hours, my goodness. Whew. Okay. How is everybody doing? Anybody got their own knife collection they'd like to share? Feel free to say in the chat if you also collect anything like knives or keyboards and stuff. Yeah, this is like my second ever stream where I showed my pocket knives. The first one was earlier in my streaming career, but now this is my first one as a VTuber. So yeah. Okay, we have 2 more to focus on for today. Okay, this one. Hey Haku, welcome to the stream. How are you? How are you, Haku? I guess you could say to all the raiders, nice to meet you. Good to have you here, Haku. Welcome everyone to the stream. It is your favorite color surfing DJ, Serjay Svek, back with yet another spectacular stream. And whether you're watching live, whether you're watching the VOD, whether you're chatting or lurking, you are all welcome here. And I hope that this stream will bring a little more color to your day. Welcome everyone. We don't have my VTuber model on because we are currently using my cell phone just to record, because also my laptop is having problems connecting to the internet, so we're doing it live. Just like in 2020, baby. You could say it's still a VTuber stream because there's my VTuber exclusive custom mousepad desk mat here. And as you can see here, we've been spending an entire stream talking about my extensive pocket knife collection. These all look pretty knife. And again, to everybody, I would just like to say, nice to meet you all. It's Serjay. This is not Serjay's hand. This is paid actor's hand. Paid actor, say hello. Don't flirt with the audience, paid actor. Yes, okay? Do not flirt with the audience. Okay, fine, whatever. Anyway, how was your stream, Haku? Welcome, everybody. And for those who are new to my channel, I usually do just chatting streams like this. Once in a while, I also do like MRE review streams. I also mostly play games on the Nintendo Switch, and I also do occasional art streams. So feel free to go ahead and check it out. And if you like what you see and love what you hear, why don't you go ahead and give me a follow and maybe catch my future streams if and when the internet finally fixes itself. That would be nice. So we have a question. Wait, before we get to Haku's question, let's just greet all of the people over here. I'll leave that to you, Cool Beans. Hey Shiba Kuroji, welcome. Sephirogar, nice to see you too. And hey Drew, welcome. How is your Tekken adventures, Mr. Lei Wulong? And yes, I have a lot of pocket knives. I had a very big collection problem. So this is, wait, let's count together. This is Sister Svek, so don't count this one. I got, hey Xerlia, thank you very much for stopping by. So let's see, we have the Squid XM, this is one. We have the Victorinox Cadet, that's 2. Not the compact, I don't like this one. We have the Case American Workman Stockman, that's 3. We have the Victorinox Bantam, that's 4. We have the Victorinox Pioneer X, that's 5. We have the My First Opinel pocket knife, that's 6. We have my latest addition to my collection, the Victorinox Explorer. Look at that thick boy. That's 7. We have the Victorinox Alox Mini Champ, that's 8. Where did I put the classic XD? Wait. Is it here? Did I put it here? Oh, it's in my wallet. Okay, there we go. Let me see. Where did I put it? There we go. Okay, we have the Victorinox Classic SD and Alox, that's 9. And then we have the Musashi Higo no Kami, that's 10. And we have the Rough Rider Blue Mule Sunfish, that is 11. I have a problem. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that's part of my collection. We are just talking about all my knives because why not, diba? Share your collections, do a little bit of show and tell and stuff like that. Anybody and any pocket knife havers chat from Haku's stream? You know, we want to share the love. I believe, first off, that all pocket knives are tools first, not weapons. You do not want to stab with a pocket knife, okay? You're more likely to hurt yourself first compared to whoever's hurting you. And besides, you know, it feels very empowering, you know, to be able to, if you need to cut something, you just have a knife, shoop, shoop, done. Hey, Serjay, do you want to help me open this package? I got you, fam. Shit. I keep forgetting how to do that, so shit. And then, okay, done. Nice. Hey, Serjay, do you want to help, open this Amazon box? I got you, fam. Open this one, and done. That's it. Serjay, do you need Do you have a pair of scissors? I got you, fam. Let me just open this Pioneer X. Best scissors ever. Okay, there we go. Anyway, lesson. But again, this is the Philippines, as you can see. Knife laws are different here. If you choose to carry a pocket knife or a multi-tool and you don't need it as part of your job, you run the risk of it being confiscated because, again, it is very risky, and our knife laws are still from more turbulent times in the 70s and 80s. So you can understand why the laws were made during that time. I just wish that one day they would amend those laws because, it really is a lot useful to have, tools like this available for use anytime. Reeker says, "Hey Serjay, can you zip maniacally holds knife?" some of my coworkers even call me Bear Grylls or what's this, a Boy Scout, because if ever they need a knife or scissors or something like that, I already have it ready. And it feels good, Again, if nothing else, the only one of the main reasons why I have such an extensive collection, especially of Swiss Army knives, is because of all the tools available that I can use to help other people. If they need scissors, I can do that. If we're at the bar and we need to open some bottles of beer, I got you, fam. If you need me to cut something, I've got a knife, or whatever, a can, anything. It feels good to help people, okay? Of course, within reason, because they might be using you, but sometimes, you just don't think that far. Sometimes it's so long as you're able to help other people out, that makes my day. That makes my day. So being equipped with the tools that I could use to help other people is something that makes me very happy. And which is why I also invested in this thick chunky boy, the latest one in my collection, the Victorinox Explorer. It's thick! Okay. Thank you once again for the raid, Haku. Congratulations on finishing, I believe you said it was Diablo RE4, excuse me, Resident Evil 4. Congrats. Nice work. Yeah, there was a lot of knives in Resident Evil 4 too. Leon and Krauser loved them. So yeah, I think I'm not sure if that's the reason why you rated me, Haku, but it's a very appropriate very appropriate transition from Leon and Krauser's knives to my knife collection. My gosh. Never played Diablo? Well, just stick with Diablo 2. That's fine. Haku says, "I saw knife, I go." Haha. Mila says, "Can you do a knife block?" Well, you definitely can't do a knife block with this knife, okay? Speaking of which, this is another one in my collection. This is called the Higonokami knife from the Japanese website Musashi. And we're going to transition to this one. So, what is a Higonokami knife? Higo is a prefecture in Japan, and they are the ones that made knives such as this. As you can see, it's what they call, if I recall, the term is a friction folder. So what does that mean? It is a knife, so you have to open it like this with this little lever over here, and it looks like this. And the only way that you can keep the knife open is if you have your thumb positioned like this, so it doesn't close. If you remove your thumb, the knife will eventually go back. I think it needs some oil, but yeah. See? Oh yeah, Milas, this is the knife that you used to cut Ren's pecan pie. Remember that when we stayed in the Airbnb? Yeah, this is the one that you used. Anyway, Haku says, I need to sleep now, Serjay. Thank you for the shout out and have a wonderful sleep. I hope the knife show and tell goes well. Go ahead and have a good rest, Haku. Thanks again for sharing your community. Mila says, that knife is the sexiest in my opinion. Well, it definitely has a charm. And this is... It has the material here, VG10 blade. Some other versions have a... what's this? Carbon steel, just like the Opinel that I showed earlier, but this is stainless steel. But this is a VG10 blade, and it has stainless steel handles. So again, this is called a friction folder because the lever that you have here is the one that sticks out. And if you open the knife, so let me pull it open again, your thumb is the only one that's keeping it from closing down. And it's a very sharp knife. Again, I like the point here because if you want to open a box, it's just put it here and zhup, very precise. This part is dull, so you don't have to worry about accidentally stabbing yourself or cutting yourself here. But the point is very strong, so be mindful of that. And yeah, if I recall, this is the one that Mila's used to cut one of Ren's homemade pecan pies. Ren is a cook, and he likes to make pecan pies. It's really, really nice. Shh, shh, shh. And yeah, Higunakami again is a kind of knife, and there is a particular family from the Higo prefecture in Japan, if I get my facts straight, and they're the only family allowed to make knives like this that they call Higunakami knives. Others can make knives in this similar way, but they just have to call it like Higo style knives. So parang gaya-gaya lang. They can, but they can't call it the exact same thing. Similar to how there are companies that can call Swiss Army style knives, but they can't call it a Swiss Army knife. That legal distinction only belongs to Victorinox at this point. So legalese, stuff like that. Mila says, so are they pioneers of that style? If I recall correctly, yes. For this particular knife, it is the family is the one that pioneered this particular style. And I was very hesitant to buy this because this was not from the family's website. It came from a Japanese company called Musashi. And yeah, it's really, really... I was hesitant to buy it, but this is a very nice knife anyway. And eventually, I don't really care. I'm just more of, I want to use this as a conversation piece. And it's a very thin knife. And as Mila says, it's very classy looking. Almost wafer thin, just like the Victorinox Bantam that you see over here. Very, very thin. So it disappears in your pants pocket. The only problem is that, this bit's sticking out. If you're not careful, stuff in your pants might force it to open, and, you're going to be in for a bad time with this point. Not to mention, when you open this, because of this, hollow part, it can feel a bit uncomfortable in your hand in the long run. But if you're like me, and you just, cut open a box or some paper or stuff like that, and then close it, it's not going to be a problem. So again, this is the Japanese Higunakami knife from Musashi. We only have one more knife in my collection that I'm willing to share. Let's go take a very quick break. I'll be right back. And I'm just going to go get a quick snack, and then we'll be right back, okay? So, mods, kindly watch over, please. Give me a couple of minutes. Hey everybody, hi Kiefer, welcome to the stream. And yes, we are doing a show and tell stream. Uh, we've, as you can see, we've got a lot of knives that we went to. We actually have one more knife that I want to talk about. But for now, I just want to mention that I went downstairs and Sister Svek bought some Lugaw. And I brought it up in my plastic bowl because, again, during the time of the pandemic, everybody was worried about, trying to keep stuff separate, separate bowls and stuff like that. I went one further. I bought a separate bunch of plates and cups and stuff that are no, the cup is stainless steel, but the bowls and stuff are plastic because in my room is on the second floor of our home. And I don't want to when I was doing work from home, I don't want to what's this? I don't want to break any of Mother Svek's expensive ceramic plates and dishes. So I bought plastic instead, so that at least if it drops, it drops. I don't care. And showing off another thing in my collection, I also collect sporks. And this is a Light My Fire brand titanium spork. As you can see, TI for titanium. I guess if you have two of these sporks, you could say that you have the... Okay, anyway. So yeah, it's not technically a spork if you think about it because it has a fork end with a serrated edge for cutting stuff, and you have a spoon. But it's really nice because sometimes in sporks, the spoon is not, deep enough to actually be used to get soup and stuff, but this is great. And this fork is doable. Yeah, made in Sweden. Yes, home of PewDiePie and Spazzy and Robaz and all of the... And Bikini Body if you play in Rainbow Six Siege. Yep. Mmm. Oh, that's pork. That's pork, Lugaw. Oh my god. I thought it was chicken. My goodness. Oh god. Oh. Oh. Oh, so that's why. Okay. First off, chicken Lugaw is still the best for me. But if I had a choice, I would always pick arroz caldo over Lugaw. And Milas knows, because we came from the same hometown, that Lugaw is not a thing in our hometown in comparison. We always have arroz caldo. And arroz caldo is just Lugaw, but with a lot more yellow. Because we put a little more luyang dilaw, or in English, turmeric, in there. And it has a lot of a little bit spicier, a little more prominent flavor. Lugaw is meant to be a lot more neutral. And we have more garlic in there as well. So I remember when I first moved over here to Metro Manila, I did not know anything about Lugaw, and I first heard about Lugaw. I was like, yeah, it's like arroz caldo. And then my friends were like, what the heck is arroz caldo? And I looked at them, they looked at me, and I was like, huh. Culture shock. But yeah, Lugaw is great. I've learned to like it. But if I can find a good bowl of arroz caldo, it's good. This is just rice porridge. Great if you're sick. Very easy. This is just takeout. There's a place that sells lugaw or rice porridge just outside our home. So we decided to get some. I was surprised that they have a pork option. I always go for the chicken, no matter what. Chicken lugaw is the best for me. What do you, chat, what do you usually like to put in your lugaw if you order? I like mine with a ton of garlic. Garlic, maybe a little bit of salt and pepper. And if they have a hard-boiled egg, yeah, that's the good stuff. That's an entire meal right there in a bowl. Egg, Reeker, very cultured, yes. I swear, if you like goto, okay, I won't judge you. If you say you like goto, I won't judge you, even though you're wrong. Look, I'm sorry, okay? I don't like tripe. In Tagalog, tuwalya. I don't like the texture of tripe at all. Or tuwalya. Tuwalya, funnily enough, literally means towel. So if you've ever tried tripe before, that's the exact texture of tripe. It's like getting a good morning towel and then eating it. Oh my goodness. Kiefer says, you don't like tripe and kare-kare? No, I don't like oxtail or tripe and kare-kare. Tripe, again, is tuwalya, Reeker. So the one that you usually find in goto, the one you usually find in kare-kare, the one that the one that has a texture of good morning towels, for lack of a better term, lack of a better reference. It is good for other people. I just don't like it. I'm also, aside from being a taste eater, I'm what you call a texture eater. So if it has a really weird texture, I don't like it. Which is the same way with me and lengua. Lengua is tongue. And when I was a kid, lengua is a very popular party food in the Philippines. And when I was a kid, I was like, oh, lengua, it tastes great, yes. But then there was this one day when Mother Svek made me eat ox tongue, and I knew it was ox tongue that I had to cut up into smaller pieces and eat. And because of that, I became traumatized eating ox tongue. And when I learned that lengua, the food that I loved to eat in parties, was also ox tongue, I could not eat it anymore. Whenever I would look at lengua after that, I would feel like I wanted to vomit. In the same way, growing up, I hated avocado. I hated the smell, I hated the taste, but my family loved making avocado shakes. But I hated it almost all my life. It was only like a few years ago I tried avocado and I actually liked it. I tried lengua a few years ago. But I like avocado now. Avocado is great now for me. But I tried lengua a few years ago. I still hate it. I tried tripe a few years ago. I still hate it. Ampalayas also. I still hate it, okay? There is no changing ampalaya for me. No. No matter what. I'm still a little bit picky. I used to be a very picky eater growing up, but I became a little more open to that. But yeah, I'm not as picky as before, but I'm still very picky in some certain ways. I can be picky. I'm very picky when it comes to food, but I'm probably not gonna be as picky when it comes to you. Woo! Nakapo! There we go. Let's go. Mila says, avocado float is the best. I haven't tried avocado float before. I've only tried mango float or mango icebox cake. So, very interesting. And Kiefer says, most people hate the smell of durian, but I love it so much. I hate the smell and the taste of durian. I've tried it before just to satisfy my curiosity, but I'm not a fan. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Okay, so let's wrap up this stream by going to this last pocket knife in my collection, okay? This is the Rough Rider Blue Mule Sunfish. So the brand is Rough Rider. It's an American brand, but their knives are currently made in China. And Blue Mule, because of the scales here. For knives like these, usually they could come in a varying number of what they call scales. This one. So, to compare, Victorinox, the classic red, plastic scales are what they call Celador. So these are plastic. They also come in aluminum oxide metal called Alox. So these are their other kind of scales. This CRKT Squid XM comes in G10 scale over here, and this one is stainless steel. And this My First Opinel has a wooden handle. Now for knives like these, usually they would come in things like, say, imitation bone, or maybe genuine bone, or wood, or anything like that. But that could raise the price, and I'm not really a big fan. I prefer something a lot more simple. So I got this Blue Mule scale. It feels similar to plastic, but maybe not. I could be wrong. But this is not the only knife in their Blue Mule range. They have a bunch of others, but I only got the Sunfish. And this is the Sunfish pattern. So what is the Sunfish pattern? It consists of a large, and when I say large, I mean large, a large spear point blade and a pen blade. So here's the fun part. Let's compare it to the blades on the Victorinox, okay? So let's take a look at the large blade and... Oh no, sorry, excuse me. Wrong one. We'll use the Spartan here. So let's take a look at the blade here and the smaller blade here, okay? Let's compare it with the Sunfish. Look at the size difference of these two. Look at it. This thing, the big spear point blade of the Sunfish, is almost double the size of the Victorinox. Okay, look at the size difference of this. Okay, and if we look at the smaller, what they call pen blade, look at how much bigger the Sunfish's one is in comparison. So there's no question. The Sunfish embodies the philosophy of bigger is better. And it's funny that it's called the Sunfish because it is named after the sunfish animal. If you're not familiar with the sunfish, it's that really, really big flat fish. And I had a friend on my IRL Facebook that says it's God's most useless animal. The meat doesn't taste good. It's mostly bone. It's a very, very wide animal. It takes a lot of space. It doesn't do anything. So it's useless. But the fish may be useless for them, but the knife is definitely not useless. This is the only thing that I ever bought in Amazon. Ever. Because I was obsessed with finding a knife like this. And when I got it, I had buyer's regret. Because when it arrived, it was not that sharp. So I tried to sharpen it myself, but I quickly found out that I did not have the skills. So, because of my blunder, I had to bring it to a professional sharpener, and they had to do some trimming of the edge over here. I'm not sure if you could see it, but because of how badly I did my sharpening job, they had to do a little bit here. You see how the light reflects differently on the tip here compared to the rest? They had to cut a little bit more of the metal on the blade just to make sure that it can actually stab something. I did a really bad job. So what did I learn? Leave the jobs to the professionals. But I still like this knife. It's got half stops, meaning the knives can be like this, which is very important because it's very difficult to pull it out. And because of how difficult it is to pull it out, this is very, very thick and heavy. So it's a good thing it has a half stop, because if you're not careful and you have your finger here, it just whoop. Ooh, that's safe. Your finger is safe, so you can close safely. So it's a very thick knife, but rather it's a very wide knife, but it's not that thick. Compare it to the latest addition to my collection, which is the Victorinox Explorer, which is like almost twice the width of this. And this is why knives like this, sunfish, were very popular back in the day of sailors, because these were used, or the knives like these were used on ships to cut rope, because it was very, very thick. And what they would do is that they would put some rope underneath here and then get a hammer and back. These things were meant to be used and abused. And these were considered working man's knives because, again, they have very big, robust blades, but they're very thin. So it's not as bulky to carry as, let's say, this one is, even though it has a lot of tools, and this is just a couple of knife blades. But still, this is very thin. And the funny thing is, despite me being pretty much a Victorinox fanboy, this is not a pocket knife in and of itself. If I had to choose just pocket knives, so just knife blades in my collection, if I had to choose which one I wanted to get, I will not pick, if I just had to pick one, I would not pick the Squid XM, because, look at it. It's all black, it looks too tactical, and with the flipper tab, some people would get scared if I flip it open like this, so it looks threatening to people who are not used to knives. The Opinel is great. It's a great slicer. The thing is, it's very slow to open, and because of the wooden handles, there's always a chance that the knife blade will get stuck in the handle because wood can swell and shape, so it's not always reliable. But if it works, it works. The Japanese Higonokami that I have here It's a great knife, no doubt. Great slicer. But again, it relies on you always having your thumb here to keep the pressure up. Otherwise, if you don't, it's going to bend back on itself. And if you keep the knife in your pocket, if you're not careful of the lever that sticks out, if you accidentally brush against it, you might end up opening the knife in your pants and poking yourself in the leg. So that's not going to be fun. So if I just had to choose one pocket knife, I would actually choose the Sunfish, the knife that I had buyer's regret over, simply because I like them big. I have big hands, and as much as I like Victorinox knives, the knife does a very good job, but the knife blade is still a little too small for me. You know, I want something with a little more mass behind it. So that's why I like the Sunfish blade, because it feels like, you know, it could really go deeper into your brick of Eden cheese. Just look at how much wider it is. So this is a personal preference thing, but I like how big it is in comparison because it's really, really nice. So yeah, if I just had to choose one pocket knife, not a Swiss Army knife, but just one pocket knife among my batch here, it would probably be this, just because I like big blades. And it does a very good job of cutting now that we actually had someone sharpen it. Some comments in the chat. Mila says, is there a pocket knife you were looking forward to getting in the future? Well, not a pocket knife, no. I don't really like having just pocket knives, actually. If I had a choice, I would always pick a Swiss Army knife, as much as I like these. Because, you know, I would rather carry something that does a lot of things compared to just knife. As much as they are very nice, just knife is not something that I want to rely on in my everyday carry. I want to have the ability to help myself and help other people with knife, scissors, can opener, bottle opener, and stuff like that. Especially in the holidays, because the corkscrew will be used for the wine. But to answer your question, if there is something I'm looking forward to getting in the future, maybe, I would probably get the Victorinox Climber. And the Climber has all of the tools of the Explorer. So again, it has the big blade, it has the small blade, it has the bottle opener, it has the can opener, and it has the scissors, and the corkscrew, the parcel hook. Let me open that for everybody. The parcel hook, and the awl. This one. It just lacks. It just will miss this layer of tools. So it will not have the magnifying glass. It will not have the 3D Phillips screwdriver. So you're missing one layer of tools. Now, why would I want to get that instead of another Explorer? Well, if I want a more compact option for my other wallet, then a Climber would be a good idea. But if I can find another Explorer like this one, that would be great. I love this knife. It may be chunky, but you know, it provides a much better grip for my hand in comparison, again, to something like the Bantam, which is like this. Very classy, very thin, but it's as thin as a wafer, and it almost got lost in the laundry because of that in my pants. I'd rather take something that has a little more real estate, because I know if I hold it, I really am holding it properly. Just like the Sunfish, see? it's really big enough that I could feel it. Comparison to like the Case American Stockman, which is like this tiny, and then the Higonokami, which is like this. So yeah, if I had to choose one official pocket knife, I would just use the Sunfish, and one official Swiss Army knife, I would stick with my Explorer. So there we go. These are my two main choices on November 22, Wednesday, 2023 in the Philippines. Yes. Why do I mention that? Because it's possible that we may be adding more to the collection in the future. I do not know. We will find out if my wallet can handle it, or it will crumble under now my new obsession, which is getting art commissions. Oh my god. Anyway, let's finish reading the comments here. Mila says, this squid knife is sexy as well. Despite the intimidating look, it does look sexy. Yes. Really looks nice. But yes, it can be a bit intimidating for people who are not used to knives. Mila says, part of me wishes there's a built-in mirror on the blade because it's wide enough. If you polish the blade well enough, it can get like a mirror finish, so you could really see your reflection clearly. But me, I don't want that. I don't like having to deal with mirror finish because it's going to show the fingerprints a lot more clearly and you feel compelled to wipe it off every single time. I don't want to have to do that. I just want to put the knife in my pocket after use and then that's it. Reeker says, now tape it to our wrist and serve the light in the dark. Maybe we will do that. And then Cool Bean says, yep, multi-grit sanding, then polish and buff. Good luck on the fingerprints though, right? I already forget to do maintenance on these sometimes. So I don't want to have to deal with the fact that, oh my gosh, fingerprints. I just want to take knife, cut, back, done. That's it. So yeah. Mila says, oh, I thought you don't want it reflecting yourself becoming a monster or something. What if I already am a monster, Milus? You know what they say? He who fights monsters must take care not to become a monster. That's why I like this finish here, because it's... You can't see any reflections here. No doxing allowed, my gosh. Anyway, that's it. I have way more stuff in my collection. So, but I don't want to talk about that because it's almost 3 hours. And my goodness, we spent quite a lot of time, and I'm really happy that we were able to spend a lot of time on this. Make sure, everybody, that you open your knives on the right side, as Reeker mentions. And it was all knife to meet you. Again, thank you, Haku, for the raid. And I don't know if there's a way for me to raid because I'm using my cell phone only to record. But I will say this. I hope that this stream still managed to bring a little more color to your day. Again, it is your favorite color surfing DJ, Serjay, Svek, and paid actor, Wave paid actor, over here saying, you take care, always stay safe, and keep the world turning. Thank you very much for your time, everyone, for joining me on this show and tell stream, and I hope to catch you next time, and hopefully with my proper VTuber model available. Okay? Bye now, take care, and salamat Svek, love y'all, bye!